On this episode of TDC Talks, we have Clodagh. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to sit down. You have an impressive background. You work growing agencies. So basically your LinkedIn description is helping digital marketing agencies improve revenue, results, and retention. So that's obviously an amazing background. We're so excited to hear more. Thank you so much.
Laura, it's an absolute pleasure to be on the other side of the interview. I have my own podcast and I did a few interviews today as the host, so delighted to be here as a guest.
Oh, how exciting. Tell us the name of your podcast and I can do a link down below for anybody that wants to go ahead and listen and check you out. We can have that link below.
Super. It's called Agency Life, and it's all for digital agency owners, the ups and downs, the highs and lows of running a digital agency.
Awesome. I'll make sure to go ahead and add that because we do have a lot of agency owners in our industry, in our audience, and we do partner with a lot of agencies that just like us are making their way up, growing, like you said, going through those ups and downs because it happens every day. And I know it's nice to hear from other people so that we know we're not alone.
Exactly. That's the kind of number one feedback I get from people who email me and go, oh, that was a great interview. Thank you. I don't feel so alone anymore. And that's the purpose of it, is just to connect other agency owners out there, learn from some mistakes, share some highs, and Agency Life, iTunes, all Spotify, all YouTube, you name it, all the platforms.
Awesome. I'll make sure to leave a link down below, and that's super important. So let's go ahead and get started. Tell us a little about your background. So tell us where you're located. Obviously, like I told you, I love the accent. It's so nice to have an accent here and there because we're in the US, so the English is pretty plain, so it's nice to hear somebody with an accent. Tell us all about yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm currently right now, even though the Irish accent, I'm actually currently in Cape Town in South Africa.
Wow.
So my little kind of history of mine, I grew up in the west of Ireland, and through various sales and marketing jobs, I got to travel the world through working with Dell and with Sony. I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Australia, and about 7 years ago, I actually moved back home to Ireland from Australia. After spending 6 consecutive dark winters, I pretty much snapped this winter and decided that's it, no more. So I came down here on the 21st of November as a business coach to digital agencies all around the world. As long as I have a Wi-Fi and a good strong internet, all my clients can dial in and we can do this video call like we're doing here. And yes, I've been here for the last 2 months, but normally I'm in the west of Ireland, and I then visit my clients who are all around the world, in Canada, in the US, in the Nordics, some here in South Africa as well. And basically that's what I'm doing. How I got there is prior to this, I used to work for HubSpot. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, I used to have my own digital marketing agency. So that's really kind of my career, has a lot of travel, a lot of corporate sales and marketing jobs. But my true passion, which I really only found when I was 40, 6 years ago, is digital marketing agencies, helping them to have better businesses, understanding them, helping them to work to their strengths, helping them manage their team of people. And I got exposure to that by working in HubSpot, talking to hundreds of agencies about how they were running their business. And I just kept noticing things were, no matter where they were in the world, there was these common trends and challenges that everyone had. And I was able to create some methodology around that. I wrote a book about it, and I actually have an online course that helps agencies run a better business, because there was a big gap there for agency owners.
Wow, so definitely a huge work line from everything from your own agency to going into the corporate world, now back out and now branching a little more into the coaching industry. That's amazing. You talked about so many important things, so let's go ahead and digest each one. I want to go ahead from the beginning. So tell us from when you had an agency, what was like that tipping point that you said, okay, I'm done with my agency, I want to go into the corporate world? How was that? What made you make that decision?
So it was a logistic thing and a personal thing at the same time. I was doing inbound marketing, social media marketing, content marketing in a small agency in Sydney that I'd built myself. And it was coming to the point, I'd been there for 12 years, and it was kind of coming to the point where I really missed my family. And it was 2012. And I was also looking at what was going on in Ireland at the time. The Irish government has done one of the best jobs at attracting the EMEA headquarters for Google, for LinkedIn, for Twitter, for Facebook, for HubSpot.
Right.
There is so many EMEA headquarters in Dublin, in Ireland, for the tech industry. And having been in Australia for a long time, having missed my family, I just made the decision that it was time to come home. It was time to come back. And I knew that if I was going to advance my career, I was going to have to get into what they call Silicon Dock, which is down in Dublin. And that was the decision that I was very lonely. I'd missed my family. I also was feeling that I wasn't learning, and I didn't have a network. And that's where I made the decision to come home. And on my short list was working for HubSpot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's super important that you mentioned, because it's not only about our work life, it's our personal life. It all ties in together, and we have to be good in both in order to perform and in order to feel that happiness all around and our well-being. It's so important being surrounded by people, by mentors, by family, by friends. That's such an important base. I love that you touched on that. So you were working, now we're at HubSpot, you're working at HubSpot. Tell us a little about your role here, how that played out, how long you were there. I think it was around 3 years, correct?
Just up to over 4, all up, yes. So when I applied to HubSpot and they said, can you come in? We have a new role that we're trialing, and it's called a channel consultant. And the role was to work with digital marketing agencies who had bought HubSpot software, and they need to learn how to use it themselves. And then they need to learn how to use it for their clients. So it was a very consultative role based around sales and marketing software. Actually, it was mainly marketing software. The CRM hadn't really kind of formulated at that time. And what I was finding was most of the conversations I would have with agencies, I would speak with them some of them every week, some of them every 2 weeks, some of them once a month. And after about 6 months, we were kind of running out of sales and marketing conversations. They were coming to me with, am I profitable? When should I hire someone? What's my policy for working at home? How do I figure out my agency financials? And these questions were way beyond my job role. But I only had a certain amount of clients. So I wanted to help them, because I knew that if these agency owners were successful and had profitable businesses, number one, they could buy their HubSpot license next year. And number two, they would still have a business to do more services. So what I started to do was investigate agencies who had figured out this problem. And I came across an agency called the Whole Brain Group, Marissa Smith. And she had done a talk about that she had found a business methodology that had improved her agency. And she was really excited about sharing that. And that turned out to be the entrepreneurial operating system. You can start by buying a book called Traction by Gino Wickman.
Traction by Gino
Wickman.
Gino Wickman. Okay. Yeah. We're also going to put that in, because as an agency owner, everything that you're telling me, I'm like, wow. So all of that stuff, we're going to write it down at the bottom. Okay. Keep on telling us.
You can always ask me if you need any, you can drop me a line if there's any gaps. So this is what I was experiencing. It's like an agency owner will start a business. Typically the story goes, they had a job, they didn't like it. They wanted to work for themselves. They wanted to work their own hours. They wanted to do their own marketing campaigns with their own clients. That's the kind of usual start of an agency owner. And they're very good at that. But in order to have a business, you need a team of people to come in, even if they're part-time or freelancers. And the actual whole relationship between an employee and an entrepreneur is a very fine balance. They're two different personalities. They have two different mindsets. And the entrepreneur gets kind of frustrated going, oh, the employees are asking for things like, time off and, training plans and, perks. And the employees are going, the entrepreneur just works day and night, and they come in and they've got all these new ideas about how to run a business. Like, I don't know where I stand with them. I don't know how to work with them. And so that has been the biggest thing that I've helped agency owners uncover. It's like, you're an entrepreneur. These are employees. You are never going to be the same, but you can work harmoniously together in a happy way that's profitable, that's getting results for clients. But you've just got to figure that bit out. So that's where it kind of all started. Before then was talking to Marissa, understanding where she got her success, then following more agencies and hearing, yep, we use Traction. So I learned about the entrepreneurial operating system. And then when I was back in HubSpot, I would just talk to agencies when they would ask me challenges. I would give them a little snippet of an answer. I said, actually, I found how you can manage your team. It comes in a book. Please go and read the book, and then you can come back to me afterwards. And then I could back you was my role, So I was keeping them moving along, but I really got interested in the business side of things, and I just was like, God, I really want to help these guys. And then an opportunity came to actually leave HubSpot to do this business coaching full time, and that was with the Grow It group, which is where I've been now for the last 3 years.
That's amazing, and I love that you're saying that, because myself, I was at a company, I've been working at a company, I've been in corporate, and now I'm an entrepreneur. And exactly what you mentioned is stuff that I felt. So when I was an employee, I was like, okay, my benefits, my time off, my vacation days, all of that important stuff. And now as an entrepreneur, I work super long hours that I would never have agreed to in an office working for someone else. And it's really that shift. Like, I'm the same person, but my shift changed completely. So I think that book, I'm going to read it, and I would recommend it to anybody that not only works for somebody, but is also managing a team. I think that's a basic background, a basic, solid base that we all need to learn how to do.
Absolutely. And I think anybody, you don't have to be a digital agency to read Traction.
Exactly.
What I found was I loved Traction, and I still recommend it to any business. I don't care if you're a cafe, or if you're a dentist, or if you're an agency, or if you're a multi-corp. It's a mental book. But where I saw the gaps were in where my book came out of that, there was more specific content that in a happy, healthy digital agency, the book that I wrote, it sits on top of Traction. And that gets into the more finer nuances of utilization for an agency, training plans, how to build a culture code, things like that are more specific. And the two of them kind of sit nicely together.
Awesome. So your book, A Happy and Healthy Digital Agency, is available on Amazon. So it's basically a combination of not only your experience working and kind of mentoring them while you were at HubSpot, and now plus with your coaching and the Traction. So it's kind of like a bundle. So definitely.
That's right. Yeah.
Love
right.
it.
I wasn't
love
going
it.
to rewrite Traction. I just go, here's a good foundation. Now here's the extra nuances on top of that with my experience and that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just fascinating work, and I love it. And I think if that's even whatever business you're in, if you are struggling with your team, or you are working very long hours and you're making all these sacrifices, like, probably your health, maybe you're not working out as much, maybe you're not seeing your friends as much, maybe you're working very long hours. Of course, that's important at the beginning, but there has to come a time where you have to delegate some of that work over to your employees.
Exactly.
And that's the thing I love to do. I love to help agency owners kind of get out of that, I'm doing everything, it's my business, to actually, I'm the owner of this machine, and I have a great company culture, and I have great clients that we get great results for. And then they can go off and do, crazy things like hobbies.
Wow. That as an entrepreneur, you're like, what? Hobbies? What's that? I lost those a while ago.
Take a holiday. Go and do a training course. Let's do amazing things that we did when we were employees.
Yeah.
and that's the kind of big sort of difference that I can see. And also just loving working with agency owners. Usually, unfortunately, they come to me and they're a little bit stressed or messed up, or a big problem has happened. They might have lost a couple of clients or lost a couple of staff, and they're quite wound up. They're quite angst. Work with some husband and wife teams, which are incredibly fun to work with. There's tension there. They're little bickering on the phones. You know, they're like, maybe it was your fault. It was your fault, and I have to separate them. And the pure joy for me is, you know, spending time with them, just relaxing, going, look, it's okay. I've been this before. There's a way out of this. They, you know, just seeing them go decompress and go, okay. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a bit of work to do now. So let's do some work. And then a few months later, you know, I can see the difference when they come on the phone. They're not as stressed. They've less lines in their face. And they're doing these crazy things like, what did you do last week? I went on a date with my partner.
Oh,
we
that's
haven't
wonderful.
done that in a few years. And I'm like, yay. And the agency didn't fall apart. And they're like, nope, the agency did not fall apart.
Yeah.
Everything that you're saying is so interesting. And I know a lot of people have that question, not just agency owners, but business owners in general. They're saying, okay, I've been working, I'm maintaining myself, I'm in the part where, okay, I can have a couple of clients, we're all good. When would you say, or what tip can you give us, is that point where you can start saying, okay, it's time to bring people onto the team and it's time for you to take a couple steps back?
Yeah. So the first place it starts is that you actually have to sit down and take yourself away for an afternoon, maybe to like a hotel, and have a lunch or sit in a lobby or a quiet cafe. And you actually have to ask yourself, what does it look like? What's this for? Because I've yet to meet an agency owner that couldn't go and get a job. They're employable people. Now, they might struggle to be employed by a boss, but that's not the point. They all have a skill set that they can turn around in the morning and go and get a job. So the question that you have to go instead, okay, I've chosen this path. It's a bit more difficult at the moment, but what does it look like? And once you kind of map that out, I give the analogy a lot of you're on a boat. What type of boat is it? Is it a small little rowboat? Is it a catamaran that you want to be on? Which island are you going to? What's your destination? Is it in the Bahamas so you can take more time off? Is it into a busy seaport because you want this type of business? What type of crew do you need on the boat? What skill set do you need? A big crew? Do you need a small crew? And if you take that sailing analogy and you take yourself and you start off and you go, maybe you've been a year or two in the business, like you said, Laura, and you go, okay, I know this game now and there's a job over there. That's fine. If I stay here, what am I building?
Wow.
Where am I going? What does it look like? If I'm going to make these sacrifices, what am I getting out of that in the future? What am I personally going to get? What difference am I going to make in the world? What type of company am I building? What type of place am I going to build that these employees who can work anywhere in the world can want to come and work for me? And if that isn't resonating really solid with you, that you want to build a really cool business that makes, solves a problem, has great clients in an industry that you love, that you're going to make friends out of that. You're going to have lovely people that you work with. You're going to be excited about getting out of bed. If you're not really passionate about that, nobody's doing it for the money. It's time.
So important.
It's time to sit down with yourself and go, do you know what? I think the best thing for me to do right now is go and have a job, because you really have to be passionate about. You've seen the difference in yourself, Laura, So, but if you sit there and go, I have a really clear vision of what this looks like in 3 and 5 years' time, then you share that back with your team and you show them and you go, do you know what? I wore all the hats here, guys, to get us here, right? I was sales, I was marketing, I was operations, I was HR, right? But I want to build this type of boat, which means I need more people to come in, and I don't want to do sales anymore. I'm going to need a salesperson. I don't want to manage the office anymore. I'm going to need an office manager. And once you paint the picture and you see people's reaction and you share what type of business you want to build and you get their input and you get their buy-in, now you can start to go, okay, I'm best off in this role over here as the brand of the business, the face of the business, or you could be the accountant of the business. Whatever you're really good at.
And what you're passionate about. What a powerful, powerful analogy. I love the way that you explain that, the way that you really, that's so, so powerful when we step back and we think, okay, what do we want? What are we working towards? What's the vision that we have? Wow, amazing.
Yeah, and your story as well, because sometimes people, I just did this exercise with an agency owner, and they've been like nearly 6 years in operation, and the owner of the business never, ever, ever told his story. They all know him. He's a great guy. He's very friendly. But once he sat down and he shared his vision, like the whole company is now in behind him.
Wow.
And now they know what's ahead of them. And to get back to the boating analogy, it's a great one as well, because in normal circumstances, if you were upgrading a boat, the boat would come into the dry dock, have a break, the crew would have a nice little rest in the corner, But in agency world, no, the boat is getting upgraded while it's sailing, while it's in a storm, while some of the crew are down the back, some of the crew have left, there's new crew coming in. It is incredibly difficult to do that. But some people love it. They go, hell yeah, let's get on to that challenge. And then other people don't like it. And you cannot have people in an agency who don't like change.
That's important. It's also about personality, how you adapt, how you manage your team, and how you really work with change. I think something so important is learning how to pivot. So let's say you lost a client or you gained a client and now you are understaffed. Okay, pivot. Learn to pivot quickly. And I think that's really a key in working at an agency and owning an agency.
Yes.
It's all about pivoting. There's new things every day. And even in our work, not only in like the whole agency aspect, but our work, like a campaign isn't running. Okay, pivot. Sales are booming from something. Okay, pivot and increase that. So really, really love everything you're saying. And one thing that I saw from your LinkedIn profile is that you help agencies market, sell, service, and scale their business. So basically you divided this into 4, which is so important because marketing agencies, we focus a lot on the work that we do for clients. But many times we kind of leave off or just forget about marketing ourselves also. So how do you help agencies do that?
Yeah, the number one thing that we've seen with agencies, specifically owners, they're generally doing a tactical role. If you're responsible for sales, and because running the agency, you could come in the morning and somebody has resigned and you might need to pick up delivery, the sales doesn't get done. So in the beginning, you've got to get the engine running. But after a period of time, you have to stand back and go, okay, I can take a week off, the business will still run. Some big decisions might not be made, but you should be able to take a time out. And once we get that in place, then we start to look at, okay, you're a business owner. You need to be out doing a podcast, speaking in front of people, networking in front of people, at CEO launches and lunches, and moving around the industry. So the number one marketing actually is the agency owner. In the capacity, they might not be a great networker. So we'll go, can you speak? And they go, I don't really like speaking. Can we get you on a podcast? So we find out what the owner is going to do. They need to be driving the referral engine of the business. And they need to be out and about. They also need to be talking to other business owners as a business owner.
Oh, yeah.
Not, hi, I work in an agency. I'm going to, those days are over. They need to be outgoing, learning where new offices are coming up, learning which new companies are coming, meeting those companies so that you can get ahead of, and then that's their business development, So that's what we decide first, is getting that role. And then the next big area that I just see agencies missing out on all the time is the opportunity to educate your target market by doing in-person events, small events like a breakfast seminar, picking a topic that is seemingly very basic for the agency, which it probably is, but is not basic for the client or for your target market.
Exactly.
So breakfast seminars are a fantastic way of increasing your rapport, your brand, increasing sales. I've had one agency, they had a 400% increase in their sales by implementing the strategy, and they just do once a month for 12, 15 people. And then they get leads out of that and they close out of that. They generally pick up 1 or 2 new clients every month just by doing, a couple of donuts and a coffee and a bit of a presentation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so important.
Yeah, that's the big one there that because what happens when you're in the agency world or the marketing world, you think everyone knows about, everyone knows about chatbots. And it's like, no, you know about chatbots because you know what they are. But the person out there is going, should I have one? Should I not? Like, what's it like? Only digital marketing agency people are as passionate about digital marketing as, the rest of the world is on they've other things coming in their lives.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And many times, even for digital marketing agencies that I know, that there's a lot right now, but we're still at a moment where there still are many businesses that don't believe in digital marketing. They don't understand the power that it has. There are still people that are only focusing on traditional. So it's our job to educate before we start trying to promote our services. It's our job to tell them, show them, and explain everything that this whole digital marketing world has the power to do, because it's really so powerful, but many people just don't know about it. Many people are a little more closed, more traditional, and if they're not out there and they're not open to what could happen, if they don't know, then there's no way that they could accept it. So what you're saying about teaching is so important.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things that have come up there. If you are an agency listening to this and you're going out and you're trying to educate the market, or you have people who are resistant to digital, 2 great tips I've got for you there. The first thing is, people in business keep forgetting that they're humans. There's not one of us who hasn't changed our travel, research, food, entertainment, online shopping. Our habits, our personal habits, have dramatically changed over the last 5 years. How we order food. If you'd have said to somebody 5 years ago, you're going to pay a stranger and get in his car, you're going to pay a stranger and stay in their house, we would have locked that person up.
Oh yeah.
But everyone's personal habits. So if you're in a business conversation and the CMO or this marketing director is going, yeah, that digital, it's not going to work now for our industry, right? You hear that a lot,
Or no, that doesn't apply to our audience.
Yeah. You ask them that question. Are you still going to the travel agent to research your holiday? Are you going to the car salesman and asking him to educate you about the different cars? Are you not ordering food online? Are you still watching TV and being interrupted by ads? And they'll all tell you all the different new things that they're doing in their lives. Their last car purchase is dramatically different from the one they bought 10 years ago. Right? So once you get understanding that cover, you can get them opening up, going, humans are buying your products, no matter what business you're in. It's not a B2B. It's not a business person. It's humans have changed. So you have changed. So do you ring the car dealer and make an appointment? No, I research online. Oh,
yeah, you know the price even before going in.
Yeah, so it's a great way to open up that conversation. If you ever want to learn more about any of that, there's a fantastic book by Marcus Sheridan called They Ask, You Answer. And it is an incredible way of understanding how marketing has changed, what information needs to be on your website. And if you're a client, you need to read it. And if you're an agency, it's going to help you convince those kind of stick in the muds, if you like, that not my industry is no longer an excuse.
Exactly. The way you explain it is so clear. So repeat the title, please. They Ask.
You Answer.
They Ask, You Answer. Okay, awesome.
By Marcus Sheridan.
Awesome, awesome. It's so clear. And sometimes even just because we're so wrapped up in what we do and we know, sometimes we get even frustrated, like, oh, how can you not understand that this is going to help you? And just exactly the way you said it is so clear and it's so eye-opening to the people.
Yeah, Oh, and great. I'm glad to hear that, because I've seen the difference with people. They go, oh, I can't put the pricing on my website. I'm going, oh, what was the experience you had the last time you went to look for a price on a website? Did you call them? No, you went on to the next website.
I saw a quote recently that it was, if you provide a service, think about the last time you bought a service. Think about what you liked, what you didn't like, and that's so important, because many times we're like, okay, this has to be this way and this has to be that way. Okay, but would you, as a consumer buying that service, like it that way? So that's something so important, that as agency owners or whatever industry and you're offering a service, it's so important to sit down and really consider and then start changing and building and adapting from it.
Exactly. Yeah. Bring it back to the personal experience. I'm just sitting here in Cape Town, at the moment. If I even as short as maybe 5 years ago, probably I would have said, no, I've traveled the world, but Cape Town would have been one of those places that I went, no, it's a bit unsafe. I'm not sure. But because I was working with agency owners over here, I would follow people on Instagram. I knew that Uber was available, so I knew that a secure apartment was available. I knew that Uber Eats was available. I knew that I could come down as a single woman and on my own and be safe. But I wouldn't have done that 5 years ago, and I traveled all around the world, So I think you've got to think of, how does it improve our lives personally, and then don't segregate that from business. Think about, imagine if we made our prospects and our clients' lives as easy as our personal lives have become in the last 5 years. What would that look like?
Exactly. And I'm going to talk to you more about that, because Cape Town is on my list. I've been dying to go. So I'll talk to you about that after, because I'm so interested in knowing your tips and how that whole experience.
Well, I'll even save you, because I'm drafting a video as we speak. I have all my tips, I have all my things to do about things about down here, and then how I got down here, like how I rented out my house and just picked up everything. So be very happy to share that with you, and I'll post it online as well.
Oh, awesome. So excited. Okay. So let's jump into the two last steps that you have when you're explaining what you do for agency. So you have the service and scale the business. So this is obviously so important, and sometimes it's a little tricky, because agencies, whether you're in person or remote, you focus on actually providing that human experience for your clients. So when it comes to scaling, this is something that even I struggle with, because I think about, okay, if I'm going to scale to something drastic, then how would that work? Because we go on site to the client locations. We like doing that human aspect of, we're creating your content, because we really feel that that's what makes the difference. So what do you recommend to somebody that's interested in knowing for the future how to scale, or if they're already at that point where they're wondering, okay, what's really the best method or the best road to take when scaling an agency?
Yeah, great one. So starting off, first of all, one exercise to do is, as a leadership team, if you're a big agency or if you're a small agency, get all the team in for a workshop, maybe in an afternoon, and go, let's analyze our last 10, 15, 20 clients. Who do we like working with? Who do we not like working with? And analyze them and going, okay, what worked well? What got great results? Oh, this client, we got great results when we did this type of campaign for them. And actually do a diagnostic of the work that you did that got results, that you loved doing, that you were good at doing, and that was profitable. Wow. And start to make a core business around that going. It might be industry specific, or it might not be going, when we do this type of work with these type of people, and it's profitable, we enjoy, that is great work. And then you build out the services around that. Exactly. When it comes to your services have to be all, you need an agency playbook. This is something I help agencies with, about creating processes, documentation, so that anyone who comes into the business is replicating best practices all the time. Your utilization, i.e. the number of hours that people are billable in your office, that needs to be around the 70 to 75% mark. And that might sound really high,
but you have to have a profitable business. So if people are taking too long to do a blog post, or taking too many lunch breaks or meetings, or, kind of not really being efficient with their time, that's the number one place to look at. If you want to be efficient and you want to scale, utilization, an agency playbook, and really knowing the sweet spot of your work, because you're no such thing as a full service agency anymore. Long gone. Like those days are over, right? But you go, hey, when we do this work, we do it really well. We do it very profitable. The clients love us. Let's get more of that, right? So you zone in there. Going forward, the next opportunity for agencies to look at now is to understand what tools are out there that are going to save you more time in your agency. The precious thing you have now is time. If you've got happy clients loving what you do, your job now is to spend the next year going, how can we shave and gain another hour per person back into the business by using artificial intelligence, marketing AI tools, improve the time of the turnaround of your reports. The client loves the reports. It takes you 5 hours. Get that down to 4, get it down to 3, get it down to 2. Because the more hours that you can give back to your people to train, to upskill, you can put that back into the value. And that's the huge opportunity for agencies. Now, it's not about doing more work. It is about doing better work more efficiently, getting good results for the client, and spending more time with the client because you have it, because you've got all these secret tools that they don't know about yet, that are doing great work for you, so you can give more time for that, so that they, that experience and that education.
Wow, that is so powerful, and it's really something that's so important. We started running, we started taking clients, and for a long time we didn't track time. And something kept on telling me, no, track time, not only to decide prices, but see what we can improve, what we can automate. And when we started doing that, wow, 180 degrees flop changed. We were shocked at how much time we spent even doing things that are so minimal that you have to do. And now that we have platforms or softwares that really help us, we see the difference, and it's something that we have to continue to work on even day by day. Like, it's not about seeing it as, like you're super tight on schedule, like you have to measure everything. But yes, kind of, it's so important to see, because where you can save a minute on something, that adds up. And a minute turns into an hour turns into a whole day. And it's so important to really track down and be able to really squeeze the time and get as much done as possible in a timely fashion, and using things that are going to help us.
That's right. And that the client sees the value in the work that you're doing.
Exactly.
And that's, I think agencies, digital agencies especially, over time, they forget that really they are only in business if they're doing excellent work for clients that gets results in a profitable way.
Yes,
It's like
100%.
There's marketing campaigns, there's chatbots, there's all these acronyms that we have. But really, if your team can turn up and be productive and do great work, and the client loves it, and they pay on time, and they pay you back, and it's profitable, that's the business model.
That's it. In a simple way, that's it. That's all we do.
I hate to oversimplify it, but that's what we're doing.
I love it. You have shared so many powerful insights that I know have helped not only agency owners or people that are interested in opening an agency, but overall business owners. It's so interesting, all the insights that you have, all the tips and secrets that you were able to share today. And you've already mentioned so many amazing books that I have jotted down. I'm going to take down for my 2020 reading list. But what's your favorite book? What's a book that you've already mentioned so many, but what's your go-to that you recommend, that you say, wow, this changed my life?
Yeah, it's going to be Traction, because unfortunately I read Traction after I'd had my first agency, and I'd made a lot of mistakes and that. So when I read it, it's a business book, but I'm going to be honest, it made me cry, because I was like, oh my God, I did everything the hard way. This is so annoying. It's like, so for me, that was a game changer for me. It's a book that I come back to over and over again. And I'll tell anyone that
that wants to listen to me, you know, they go, oh, I'm running a business, I'm running a gym, I go, traction. That is my game changer book. And then of course, you know, I'm going to be brutally honest. I've even got a picture of it here. I've got my book, you know, I'm so proud of having written a book. And
of course, that's such a big accomplishment.
Yeah. And there's 500 agency owners out there who've bought the book or listened to the book and over the last year. And that makes me really happy because I know that I can make a positive impact in them. I've been down that dark, lonely road, not having any answers, and delighted to be able to give some answers, give some insights, and keep people moving along, because you can have a great business. It's a fun, cool, amazing business industry that you can have and you can be in, and you can have that. You might go through a bit of pain, but ultimately I've worked with some cracking agencies. They have some super fun, they make money, they still have hobbies, and they've got a great team and they've got happy clients. So
that's amazing.
Sure, why not? You know,
exactly.
That's where it's at.
That's amazing. We'll definitely leave all the book names down below. Thank you so much. And Clodagh, just to close off, tell me a quote that you would recommend to any business owner, not just agencies, but any business owner in general.
The quote's going to come from me, and it's going to be, hire a people manager for your team. Once you have a team of people, of 5 people or more, I have yet to meet an entrepreneur who goes, oh, I love HR, I love managing a people team. They like having the people around them, but they don't manage the people team. So if you have 5 or 6 people around that in your business, make sure you find a way to hire a team leader, a people manager, someone to look after that team, to get the most out of the team and to give them what they need so that you as the entrepreneur can go and do what you do best, which is running the business.
Exactly. Wow, I love that quote. So important. Thank you so much for your time. It was truly a pleasure, and I know that these are some powerful insights. I loved listening to them, and I know our audience also loved it too. Thank you so, so much.
My absolute pleasure, Laura. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Of course. Bye-bye.